What's going on, Nerd Nation? It's your boy Chris. We're back with another live episode. The Average Sports Nerds here. I'm joined as always by my guy Miles. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's up, Chris? Glad to be back after I think we missed the last week. So glad to be back. And we actually had a really interesting episode today. So hope the viewers really enjoy this.
Yeah, definitely. We were out last week. I was personally moving. If you could see, I'm in a little different location than I normally am. So we'll see how this one goes tonight. But Miles mentioned this is a special episode for us because we got a special guest joined by Darius Lewis, professional football player. Went to our high school for a little bit, but he's had an incredible journey throughout all type of professional leagues, winning championships all over Europe. It seems like. So what's going on, Darius? How you doing today, man?
Uh, I got to pack soon too. It's funny that you said that because you just finished packing, moving around. I'm in the process of packing up all my stuff and figuring out what I want to keep, what I want to throw away, and what I want to take with me to the next place that I'm going to. But nah, man, like y'all don't understand how nice it is to just speak English with people who speak English as a native language. You know what I'm saying? Because trying to speak like, mind you, everybody speaks English. Everybody in the whole world speaks English. It's not like people are like, oh, my name is nah. Like everybody speaks English, but it's different when you get to talk to actual people who had it as a native language. It changes the whole dynamic of the conversation. Your vocabulary
Recording in
shrinks.
progress.
Your vocabulary shrinks when you talk to people. Nah, that's all good. Vocabulary shrinks when you talk to people, and it's always refreshing getting to talk to somebody from the States. That's what we call it from over here in the States, because you're able to go much more in detail, more in depth when you talk to people. And you know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be here. Thanks for y'all. Thanks for bringing me on. I appreciate y'all responding, saying, hey, we do this, you know what I'm saying, once a week or however y'all do it. And I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, definitely glad to have you on, man. It's my first episode actually with a guest. So this is really good for me personally.
Oh, okay, let's get it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I got a lot of questions. I mean, we can start right
I
there
do too.
first with just where are you at currently right now, and like what's the main language where you're playing at?
I am living right now in Sweden. So Sweden and Switzerland get confused a lot. And I actually didn't realize what Sweden was until I actually moved here to Sweden literally 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So all the geography we take in school does not prepare you for when you actually get over here and you realize like, oh, these are them countries. Like you know, and it hits you when they hit you with the facts in every country. Like they was like, yeah, the first cell phone was made here. And then I'm talking to somebody who said like back in the 80s, they was flying on planes going back and forth from the States and they brought cell phones to the States. And everybody's like, what is that in your hand? They were like, bro, you don't know what a cell phone is? And they were like, nah. So I hear stories like this all the time. And I'm like, that is just crazy. So here in Sweden, they speak Swedish. You know what I'm saying? Every single country out here in Europe, whatever country that is, they speak that language primarily. And then English is a second, and then French is third. That's kind of how it works on this side. Because as we know over there, it's English and then Spanish, and then I don't know. I guess French is third, maybe. But that's like the world languages, basically. Those three is English, French, and some Spanish. You know, Spanish should get you some places.
Definitely.
Definitely.
I, just like a follow up question to that, how many countries have you lived in now, and how many languages do you know? Yeah.
All right. First of all, I'm not fluent in no second language. Let's get that. Like, I praise anybody that can speak two languages fluently. I mean, I don't know how you maybe you could say I'm fluent because I also work in a bar, and when I'm working in the bar, I only speak Swedish. I don't speak no English at the bar. So, but I have bar vocabulary. Like if I meet you on the street, somebody wants to have a conversation, and I'm just like, wait, what? You know, like, wait, just I don't know what you're saying. Like, take it in English for me, please. So I've been to All right. How many have I lived in? I've lived in every place that I played football in, and that was up to like 6 months. So that's Germany, Hungary, um, Turkey, Ukraine, and Sweden. And then I'm going to Poland next month. So that's 6 countries.
Wow, man, you're really getting to travel the world, man. That's a pretty unique experience.
I mean, someone broke it down to me when I was leaving college because I finished up pro day and I talked to somebody who happened to be like ex NFL player. He was the kind of sports reporter at our college, and I was asking him like, yeah, like I want to go to the league, and but I know it's just like a bunch of like BS that they have and a bunch of politics. And he was like, what you're hearing about now is nothing new. He said, I played there 80s and 90s. It's always been the same. He said, don't think that you finding out some new information. It's always been like this. He said, now what I can tell you is of all the years I played in the NFL, all the years I played in CFL, the best experience that I had was when I went and played in Europe. And he said, I waited until I was like the tail end of his career, like the end of his career, early 30s to go in Europe. And he said he wishes he would have done it from the very beginning. He said all that money and stuff does not compare to the experience. He said if you're whatever route you decide to pick, if it's CFL, go straight CFL and don't do nothing else. You need to do 100% CFL. If you're going NFL, 100% NFL. Don't even jump anywhere else. If you're going overseas, go overseas. Don't look back. So I took that advice and I ran with it. And basically, like you said, must be a nice, experience to travel everywhere. I tell people it's paid vacation. You
Mm-hmm.
see all these celebrities go overseas. Um, you might pull up, you might randomly go on a vacation and see Kanye chilling at a coffee shop. Like
Right.
it does happen like that, and the people aren't really fanboys over here. You'll see somebody and be like, "Oh wow, like that's Johnny Depp. Oh, okay, cool, no problem." It's just casual because but they spend like thousands of dollars, 5-star hotel, first class business flight. Uh, I bought a ticket day before I fly, and they spend all this money. I get the same exact experience for the places they go, minus the best hotel. But I'll get to that in a second. For like $60 for a whole week, and sixty
That's a
dollars will
deal
give
to
me
me.
like it'll give me the hotel, give me the food, it'll give me, everything. Like not like skimming myself, like actually eating, full course meals and everything. And what I was saying about the hotels, I mean, you can go and get this American 5-star hotel that has like, everything you can do in the hotel, but you start to learn after a while, like you don't want to sit in a hotel for the whole trip in the vacation you're going on. Like
Mm-hmm.
if the hotel has everything, you staying in the hotel the whole time. Like basically whenever y'all do go travel overseas, if y'all haven't already, don't look so much into where you're going to sleep at because it's always like the same quality pretty much. And you shouldn't ever be home in the hotel. You should probably get 5, 6 hours of sleep, get up and be outside all day. You don't really spend time in hotels or in hostel. The movie really ruined it for all of us, but the hostel was the best place. You have people from like, excuse Corona, but you have people from like 12 different countries all staying in the same spot. And guess what language they all speak? English. And even if they come from, 12 different countries, everybody's like, yo, like, let's go do this, let's do that. Like, we had this plan, and you get to interact and communicate and socialize, and like, it makes the whole experience. So it's not something you could easily tell somebody. So the guy who told me, the sports reporter from my college, it's hard to kind of tell somebody in 24 hours everything that they can get from going overseas. It's kind of like he told me like you have to just do it to see. And I tell people the same thing now. Like I'm gonna tell y'all as much as I can today. Good thing I like to talk, so I can tell y'all a lot. It's just hard to really give someone the experience via words. So I'm gonna do my best to try to do that today because I've talked about it enough times where I hopefully I give you an idea of how amazing it is.
Definitely.
Definitely. Did you have
Yeah.
something
So
else? My
actually,
bad.
yeah. I had a question for you. So going back a little bit before your whole pro career. So we all went to the same high school. I'm sure we've played football, any sports with the same people. So what I want to know is like, how was your life like post high school? Like once we all kind of branched off in our own directions. Because I'm curious about how you
Man,
got to where you're at.
man, it's been for anybody that's watching. I know they say like stick to there is no process. Just be consistent. You gotta just be consistent. Whatever it is. You do podcasts, you do stocks, you do a job at a company. Just be consistent. That's all you can do. So I started off when I left. I went to Division II, West Virginia Wesleyan College, in West Virginia, obviously. And I went there. They promised me a scholarship my second year there. So I'm paying like $6,000 a month. My parents paying $6,000 a month, which they didn't have. So I'm there for a first semester. We have Willie Parker, who just retired from the Steelers, was a special teams coach. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working out with him in the gym because he was like, look, he told me he hates getting attention from the way he looks, the stocky build, the running back build. He said he just wants to be slim and in shape and healthy for his family. This is someone who told me, 18-year-old, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking he's supposed to continue to be like, lifting like he's trying to be a bodybuilder. He said, no, I hate it. I hate when people come up to me and say, oh, like, I noticed you this. Like, why can't I be just a normal fit guy that, takes, care of his family? So we're in the gym. He said, you just need to be explosive. If there's anything
Oh man, I think he might be frozen.
Okay, yeah. I think he froze up on my screen too.
Let's see. Looks like we're having some technical difficulty, maybe just some connection issue to Darius here. So if you're watching out there or listening, bear with us. Obviously trying to stream from here to Sweden. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go on this screen. I think the people can probably still hear us. Just because. Oh yeah, well, I can go to this one for now. Yeah, so I mean, we'll see if we can get Darius back on here. I'm gonna keep messaging with him. We'll figure this thing out. I'm not sure. Let me send him a text here. Anyways, we can talk about that tragic game that happened today. I don't know if you saw our football team. I'll let you take it away first.
Yeah, honestly, I was working earlier in the day today. Pretty much missed that game, but got it. I think I was able to see the halftime score, and just made me a little disappointed. So you could probably speak on it more than I could. I saw one thing I did notice about the game. I saw Heineke's stats. I mean, when I saw it, he was 2 for 14 with the interception. So then after that, I was just like, there's no way we're coming back from this deficit with him playing like that. That's just going to be impossible. And I don't even think Terry McLaurin, I think he played, and I don't think he had a catch or any yardage, nothing. So
yeah. Speaking on first, Terry McLaurin, no catches. He did get hurt in the third quarter, left the game with a possible concussion. It would have been his first catch, but it would have been an incredible play that he went up, took the ball out of the air, but he hit the ground really hard, and the ball bounced away. So I mean, just a tough situation there. But just
rough
speaking
day
on
in the office.
Yeah, just speaking on Taylor Heineke, he was awful. The offensive line in front of him struggled all day. So I mean, it was just a rough game. 24-0 at half, but
I'm here.
fought back.
Y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go. We got Darius
All
back.
right, my bad.
Get the right
So,
screen on here.
my bad. So,
You good?
West Virginia Wesleyan, we had a great staff, best staff you could, you know what I'm saying, put together. We went 3-8. We went 3-8. It was the worst football season I ever had in my entire life, and it didn't make any sense to me. How do we have Willie Parker? My coach was an ex NFL. My DB coach was ex NFL. Um, everybody's like, you know what I'm saying, ex NFL or ex Arena. You know what I'm saying. The whole coaching staff. We went 3-8, and that's the first time I ever realized you can't have too much talent on one team because there's no structure. Everybody was just great individually. And they told me I was supposed to get my scholarship my second year, right? And what ended up happening was they all resigned. Every single coach on the coaching staff resigned. You know what I'm saying? Um, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Every coach and coaching staff have resigned. So I wasn't getting promised that scholarship anymore. So first semester, I'm there. My parents got no like, don't have money to keep paying 6,000 a month. The scholarship is I got to beg the next coach for me to do it. So somebody was like, look, go to California, go to a junior college. And I'm just like, what is JUCO? I don't know what saying JUCO is. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll go. So I first time on a flight flew to California.
Oh,
My whole family is
you did the California JUCO. I mean, it's gotten some
listen,
more publicity since Last Chance U and everything, but it's a grind out there. I'm sure you was just about to
man.
tell us.
It's it was a wild ride. And speaking of last chance, I got something to speak about that too. So I go to JUCO out there. So I hit up one of the coaches, and they're just like, "What JUCO you want to go to?" I'm like, "I don't know how to pick a JUCO. Like, I just gotta basically just pick somewhere to go." So I picked, what I'm saying, Fullerton College because somebody had went there before that I heard of. They were like, "Go here," and I said, "Okay, fine, whatever. I'll go here." So end up talking to the coach. He ended up having us in a roommate situation. I had seven roommates it was seven of us in a two-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
That's
And that's
crazy.
JUCO life. That's JUCO life. I'm the only person that's going to class, the only person that's going to practice, and I got six people going through my room, taking my money, taking my food. I make a smoothie when I go to school. I come back and the blender is in the fridge but empty. Like, I had to grow up quick. You have to grow up quick. And like that's what JUCO is. So I spent 1 year there. I said 1 year at the D2, and then I spent 1 year at the JUCO. Now every year at the JUCO they went 7-4, 7-5, 6-6. This year we went 12-1, and we would have been on. I don't know if we would have been on Last Chance U, but this was 2013, and the number one team in the country was the team on Last Chance U, the Mississippi, whatever the team is called. They
EMCC
went
or whatever. Yeah.
they went 12-0. We were already 12-0, and we had won the Southern California championship. It was done. The only reason why we played the Northern California team is because Northern California, Southern California, they play each other for like bragging rights for the year. So the team we played up north had only played one playoff game. So they had 10-game season and they won the 11. They were 11-0. We had a 10-game season, had two playoff games, and then we had to play them. So 11-0, 12-0, and East Mississippi was already 12-0. Season was done. We beat them. We're the only team in the nation that has 13 wins. You know what I'm saying? And we lost. Now everybody keeps asking like, why did we lose? I say where I came from, the East Coast, it's East Coast football. It's pro style football. And when you get to West Coast, everything is run and gun. It's spread offense. I mean, y'all can see what Pac-12, Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever it is now. Um,
Yeah.
everybody just spread quarterback, dual threat QB, and it's passing. You need DBs. You need people that's really moving like that. And we end up losing because the team we played 21 personnel football. Had a tight end that could catch, had a fullback, running back, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we lost, and it was rough because it was a 13-hour bus ride. And, like, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
so that was my second year. Then I got D1 Scout. I went to Northern Arizona. They the first one that reached out to me. And I have a soft place in my heart for people who reach out first. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but it tells me if you're the first person to reach out, that means you actually like like me that much. And everybody after is probably going to offer me just because you offer me and they want to compete for the player, not necessarily because they want you. So I went to Northern Arizona. Um, JUCO was the first time I ever played safety. I was a cornerback and special teams, and when I got to the JUCO, we had 9 cornerbacks and we had I think 11 safeties, and they told me I'm at the bottom of the list because we don't know who you are. And everybody in here has a story. Some people was 23, 24, 25 years old. It's a little 18-year-old me coming in here saying that like I'm trying to start. And Bob Sanders, I just put a post up on my Facebook the other day. Bob Sanders, his nephew, was it's bro. Side note, all these like pro athletes, they will pop up randomly. Like I said before,
Mhm.
it got cut off. Joe Montana was at the D2. His oldest son was a quarterback. So he was up there every day. The first car I ever drove that was not my mother's was Joe Montana's rental, which is like,
Wow, that's pretty
I did
legendary.
not, I did not have my license. I needed to get groceries, and I walked to the coach's office like, "Hey, look, like, can anybody give me a ride to the store? I need to go get groceries from Walmart." And everybody's like, "Man, like, we got a meeting. Like, we're not trying to go." And Joe Montana was like, "He could take my car. Can you drive?" And I was like, "Yeah, I could drive." He said, "You got your license?" I said, "Yep." And so he literally threw me the keys, and everybody in the room was like, "Bro, what? You gonna let him drive your car?" It's like, "Bro, it's a rental. I don't care. Like, I'm only here for a couple of weeks." So he was like, "Yeah, go ahead. Just obviously like take care of my car. Like I'll trust you." And I was like, "Bro, like craziest moment of my life." You know what I'm saying? So then the JUCO, Bob Sanders, he's there telling me how to be a safety, and he's the same height as me. I'm only like 5'8", 5'9". He's the same height as me, but 220. You know what I'm saying? And he told me how to play safety. And he was so I'm busting my tail. And every single day I had to creep up the depth chart because they told me you're not starting corner. I already have my 4 corners from the year before. The rest of the guys aren't playing, and you for sure are not going to play corner. You better go try safety because you're not playing corner. That's JUCO. They do not care. They have 200, 300 people trying out, and only 50 people travel. And talk anybody who's been to a JUCO either could quit football or they have a dog in them that not many people have. And Bob Sanders was really just like, look, you got to get in the playbook. If you beat them with the playbook, you'll slide the depth chart because everybody can make plays. Everybody's fast. Everybody's strong. And he was like, if you know the playbook. So we had a test every single Friday. We had a test. And you had to know not only what the DB is doing, you have to know what the line is doing, what the linebackers are doing, exactly what gap they're blitzing in. If it's a run left, you have a different gap than if you run right. So you have to know what every single person is doing. If it's a pass, you have a different response. So everybody has 3 different responsibilities, and you have to know exactly who's right. And if you get it wrong, you drop down the depth chart. So
Wow.
I end up
It's
starting
tough.
all 13 games. I ended up starting all 13 games, and all the coaches like at the end of the season were like, you really like had definition of busting your tail because I had my roommates giving me problems at home because none of them made the 50-man roster. So I would go to games, come back home from a game, from a win, wanting to go in my room. My door's open, my drawers are open, my money's gone. I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? I'm 19 years old and I'm over in California. My whole family's in DC. And I'm like, I don't, people get homesick quick. So I went to the D1, Northern Arizona. I'm there for 2 years. We went 7-4 and then 7-5. I started safety and nickel up there. I played Cooper Cup. I am undefeated against Cooper Cup, and he's never caught a pass on me. I have
Hey,
film to back it up. I got all the
res-
receipts. And,
respect. That's awesome.
it's funny because I just put up a Instagram story, that interview he did when he told the lady what he did to beat the person for a touchdown. I literally, the first video on my highlight film is me reading what he was doing and faking like I was blitzing. Because what he said in the video was like the guy was blitzing and there was nobody coming to fill behind. That same exact route that he ran, I've guarded it so many times and collared it and stopped it every time. And the one on my highlight film, He did the same little juke move and slated it. Like when I saw him do it, I was like, I know what he's doing, which is crazy. And then we took it to the house for like a 70-yard pick six. And but we played some names like when we were up there. And I was there for 2 years, and then I talked to the guy, and he was like, all right, cool. Like, if you want to go to NFL, try it. If you want to go overseas, like, stick with it. So pro day was nice. I had jumped to 41 on the very first try, and everybody was like, what? And I was like, but I had told people plenty of times, like, look, like I got, I jump high.
Hey, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was actually curious. What was a harder position, safety or cornerback?
Safety. Corner is the easiest position in all of football, in my opinion.
I feel like everyone would say that's the hardest.
Listen, corner, you have the sideline. They can only go inside or to your face. That's it. Playing the hardest position on the field is my favorite position, and I love playing that position. It's nickel. Because at nickel, the guy is already off the ball. He can go in motion. He can go and run the ball. He can go inside. He can go outside. He can go deep. He can go shallow. He can block you. You don't know what he's going to do. And at the same time, you have to know what the running back is doing, because if they run to the hole, he bounces it out, you have to force it back in or make the tackle. At the same time, you're guarding the slot receiver, because if you're wrong, even for half a second, touchdown.
Yeah, that's a lot to think of, man. Like, and it's just like when you were talking about the mental aspect, like that's what separates usually the great players from the good. Because, like you said, once you knew the playbook, you climbed up the depth chart, and I think just the IQ of the best people that we see play sports in any sport, like you can see they have the highest IQ of the game. So I just thought that was a good point that you brought up.
This is why I respect Jalen Ramsey and all these guys that play nickel, and we're all about the same size, because playing nickel is not about speed, it's about quickness. If you get beat outside or inside for half a second, that's 5-6 yards, which they could turn into 20. So I realized that playing, because I played corner since, and I'm like, it's so boring at corner because I can't get no action, I can't tackle nobody. It's really funny, like having a 6'1", 230 running back with 15 yards in front of you, full speed, and you're like, are they going to juke me left, juke me right, or run me over? And you have to pick one of them. And the trick is to not let them decide. You have to beat. It's like if they're like 5 yards in front of you, huh?
I said close the space, right?
Right. So if you wait and shuffle your feet, you're giving them the opportunity to make a move. You have to run and sprint up to the point where they're planting to juke. You have to be making contact. And if you don't do that, it's always 99% like a problem. So, I mean, it makes it fun, because when I was at NAU, that was the most fun part. Now, mind you, NAU is 7,000 feet up. So we trained at altitude, and I would go up to the mountain where we snowboard, which is like 9,500. And I would train up there on top of the training we had. So when we played at sea level, I played 4 quarters, offense, not offense, everything except offense. Punt return, kickoff, kick return, defense, without ever coming off the field or needing water. And everybody was
crazy
like,
endurance.
But the people and like I said, like, so athletes come from everywhere. So this Flagstaff, Arizona, next to Sedona, the Grand Canyon, that's where all the Olympians go to train in the summer. They have the car, the cycle, everything. They stay there because if you live, it's like if you go and train there with the mask on, it doesn't give you the effect. Take note for this. It doesn't give you the stamina that you're looking for. They say you have to live in altitude for at least 4 weeks or something like that, so your blood actually changes. So what they do for blood doping, like a kind of legal blood doping, is that they'll live and train at super high altitude and then drain their blood while it's up there, go to sea level, and right before competition, inject themselves with the blood that they had from training at high altitude. And they have made that. And now they've made that illegal because they say that's doping. And then the argument is, how is it doping if I'm using my own blood? And they're just like, well, so that's just a whole nother. We just lived. So
touchy topic.
so
yeah,
we
I
just
didn't
lived
even know that was going on. That's
I had no
That's a
clue. I
wild
knew people
story.
trained at high elevation, but yeah, I didn't know if they were taking their blood out because like there's less oxygen up there, so like your blood content is changing. So yeah, that makes sense.
Your blood gets used to functioning with like no oxygen
Right.
in it. So it's different type of blood. Like it's just, and then so when you have a surplus of oxygen, you run all like just all right. So basically, it's like this. You can, if you just have like a regular bar, no weight on it, and you're trying to get as many reps, you know what I'm saying? Like you get tired after a while. That's because your muscles lose oxygen. So when you have an excess of oxygen, the endurance like doubles because now you never get tired because you're only getting tired because lactic acid is replacing. And I'm not scientifically correct. I'm going just rough. You know what I'm saying? Lactic acid starts to build up because, like, for whatever reason it does, and it has to deal with oxygen in your blood. So a lot of supplements that people take, L-arginine, it makes your veins thicker so it can hold more blood, and because you have more blood, you have more oxygen. You know what I'm saying? So that's the 4 years I spent in college. I asked the red shirt every single year. My freshman, sophomore, juniors, they never let me red shirt. And I'm like, look at me. I could put on 20 more pounds. They're like, yeah, but I want you to play this weekend. And then luckily I was just fortunate enough to start, you know what I'm saying, all 4 years. So then I moved and went to Germany. I played in Germany, outside of Munich. I played in Budapest, best city in the world. I played in Istanbul. I played in a small little city in Ukraine. I played in Stuttgart, Germany, and I played in Sweden since then. So that was you know, that's the timeline of how I got to one to another. So once I left Montgomery County, like I didn't like there was no gap of time to come back because everything was just happening so fast. Like, and the second that you stop, everything else stops. So even during COVID, I was lucky enough to be in one of the very few countries that played during COVID. And the people who didn't kind of just say, you know what, I'm just gonna get a job, like I'm gonna hang it up. And it's because it's hard, like once you stop, it's hard to like start get like going again. So that's the whole timeline. My bad for dragging that for that long.
No, that's good, man. I think the viewers needed to hear kind of like how you got to where you're at. So no, that's straight. And you taught me a lot of things that people can do to like improve their body. Like taking blood out and put like that's crazy to me. I did not know about.
I mean, if you
Yeah,
just
yeah. Sorry, I meant just like in like the most like how you were explaining it. Just that's crazy. I didn't know
so
people could do that stuff.
for anybody who just wants to have more endurance at the gym, if you live on like the fourth floor in an apartment, you already have elevation training because you're living like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not going to matter much, but it does matter because anybody will tell you walking up 4 flights of stairs every single day. In the beginning, it's hard, but then you're like, bro, this is nothing. I can go up and down these stairs because now your body is used to like, oh, I need an excess of blood of oxygen to do this every day. So I'm gonna have it. And then your body adapts and then you have it. You know what I'm saying? Period. But I mean, they got what's that place called? Everybody Sugarloaf. Sugarloaf. You can go up, people go up to Sugarloaf to hike all the time. You know what I'm saying? Just go up there. If you go up there a couple times a week and actually don't like baby jog, like do sprints up there. It's the same, it's not the same thing, but it's the closest thing you could do, you know what I'm saying, to doing it. So it's really not that far fetched.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna ask, where is your favorite country to play in so far, or just to live in, I guess too.
Oh, okay. So it's a hard question to answer because some places are so beautiful, but economically you cannot live there. Budapest is hands down the best experience I've ever had in my life
Let me add that
because
to my travel list.
no, for real. Like go from June to beginning of August. No other time outside of that. And you'll see people from in one day you'll meet people from 30 countries and everybody like you can just go sit down somewhere like, hey, how you doing, where you from, oh, y'all want to go grab a drink, you want to go like, you know, hanging out later, and like after that it's not like there's no commitment to keep on hanging after. It's like, all
Right.
right, well, hey, it was nice meeting you, I really appreciate it, and it's all good vibes, and like you'll meet people every single. But trying to live there, you can't live there because the wages, minimum wage, is so low in some of these countries. But this is the reason why, like, the best countries for vacation and tourism are not necessarily the best to live in. And the reason why they're so good for tourism is because it doesn't cost anything to do anything. I could stay for a week in Budapest paying for, I'm saying, a great hotel, 3 meals, 4 or 5 meals a day, going out to, socialize and party every single day and not spend over like $200 for a whole week. You know what I'm saying? If you want to put the flight into it, and if you're already in Europe, then 300. Because from Sweden to Budapest, I only spent $30. So I can get that experience. But if I'm coming from the States to do it, the flight alone is like round trip 850. You know what I'm saying? And you can cut it down to like 400 if you get it months in advance and get it at the right time and the right website. But hands down, best country because it's so much to do there. In the States, it's kind of like you go to Florida and there's one or two things to do and everybody does the same stuff. When you go over here, I mean, you can go in the water, you can go by the, like, you could just walk on the beach, you can go walk on the, like, it's just any and everything to do is everywhere. You don't have to go to one specific place in the city to do everything. Just walking outside is like, oh, let's do this. And you don't have to spend no money to do anything. You can just walk here or walk there or hop on a tram. So that's just best place I've been to. Would I live there? No. Um, Living wise, I would live in Sweden like I am now, because I mean I'm just bartending here, and what I make bartending here is what people make in like 3 months in Poland. So I'm fortunate enough to have a job like this, and I don't take it for granted. However, when it's time to go on vacation, like I have coworkers who just went, what I'm saying, on vacation in other places just for a weekend, and they're not going to spend. They're going to spend the same amount of money that they would spend at the bar on the weekend for their flight, hotel, and enjoying themselves with food and everything else in their country. And coming back, they'll spend the same amount that they spend on the weekend. So most people who live in a country don't vacation in the same country, which is why like being social is so easy to achieve when you're in Europe because everybody is leaving their country to go socialize. But the people who are from that country are not so happy because they don't have the money to go other places and travel. So the people you do meet are always most of the time students or people from other countries. And that's the beauty of it because you realize like, man, like time is precious and I don't have time to for drama, for beef. I'm really just here for a good time, and you don't get the drama and all that you would get in other places because everybody's coming here to enjoy themselves. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man. Yeah, I'll have to get out there one of these days because you pretty much sold it. Like I want to go out there, travel, spend a week out there, not spend too much money, which is I think ideal for a lot of people. So
If you come for a week, you wouldn't go to one country. You would have, like for example, Budapest, Croatia, Hungary and Croatia pretty much touch each other. So you would go Budapest to Croatia and maybe Belgrade, Serbia, Serbia to Budapest to Croatia. And you could do that in a week, you know what I'm saying? And spend the same amount of money that you would spend uh, on your birthday weekend
Going to the
right
bar
there
in
and there.
DC.
But you get to
yeah,
see so much.
Yeah.
And like Flixbus, you take a bus like a Greyhound, and they call it Flixbus. It goes all over Europe. You spend $6, take you on a 6 7 hour ride to another country, and then you're there. You know what I'm saying? Like $7. You know what I'm saying? Like
I said
I spend 25 $30 to get from Chinatown, DC to Chinatown, New York, just to get to the
that's a fact.
airport. Like
That's a fact. So I wanted to ask what's like PG rated, like what's like the craziest thing that you've seen or maybe that you've experienced while traveling through some like all these countries you've been to, or just anything that stood out to you the most?
The airports, like
Mm.
people are, and mind you, like this is all so excuse my COVID lingo. You go to the airport, they have full sports bar, restaurant in the, and I don't mean like how they have at like Chicago O'Hare or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Not like they have here where they have one place and you. No, I mean people actually will, because most people they don't mind having a 10-hour layover because they know they're going to be able to socialize. So, um, craziest story that I had over here. I mean, um, it's there's not one crazy thing. It's just I just want to highlight the social part about it. Because
Mm-hmm.
wherever you go, if you leave with intentions that I'm going to go travel and vacation, you're going to meet other people that are also doing it, and you can have a conversation. And maybe they've been to DC before, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I was there, and I got family over there, and that's really nice, and that's really cool. I've been to this one place called Bethesda. Oh, you would what? Like
Right.
that's the city I'm from. Like that's happened many times. So I would like to say it happened like, just one time. It was amazing. It's common to really just sit and talk with somebody, and because you get past the, oh, like where you coming from, I can tell that, you're American. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I've been there before. Oh, like you've been to the same place I'm from. Like what? Like that's really cool. Nice to meet you. Have a good day. And then you go about your way. Um, what I can say is, and this is PG rated. A lot of people ask me, and this is the best story that I have, and it's really just an experience altogether. People always ask me, "Are you still a black man when you go different places in Europe?" And the answer is no. You're just another person. You're American, so they don't call you like, "Oh, like, oh, there's a black guy right there." It's like, no, like that guy's American. How do you know? You see the way he dresses and the way he walks.
Right.
Americans have a walk. You wouldn't believe that, but like people literally say, I could tell from the way you walk that you're American. Like you walk kind of like, so confident. You Americans walk with so much confidence, and they actually love to see it because it's just a different. It's like going to France and seeing somebody speaking, oh, we, you know what I'm saying? Do this.
Yeah,
When they look at us, they get the same thing. They're like, oh, like that's like a real American. Like I've never been to America. Like I
that's what I
always
seen
want.
in the movies. Type
That's what
stuff.
they say. That's what they say. And they're like, I didn't know
Yeah.
it was like a thing. Because then maybe they meet people from Britain or the UK and they have a different walk, a different talk. So when they see Americans, they're like, oh, like this is what you wear. Like, oh man, like why are you here? So that experience alone, I tell people like, forget all the social stigmas and everything that are in America. When you leave, you are just a person and they see you as American. And that's like the most beautiful thing. So that's my best experience, the craziest story that I've had. It doesn't matter where I go. Everyone's like, oh man, you're American. Like, it's nice to meet you. Like, I always wanted to meet an American. I'm like, I'm glad that it could be me and not somebody who's kind of rude. And you'll find that too. Anybody who travels from the US over here kind of has this more friendlier approach to everything. It's really hard for like a rude person. I mean, just imagine someone who's like real stubborn, like, I'm not going to drive to South Carolina. I'm not going to fly to Texas. They won't
Mhm.
fly overseas 9 hours to get to another country either. The people who do that, I want to socialize and want to be like, like, how's it going? I'm being friendly. So everyone receives you well. And that's really nice.
Yeah, it just sounds like there's a whole different social dynamic between the states and then other countries. Because I get what you're saying about the states. Sometimes you're scared to talk to people sometimes because you haven't built that connection. But you're sounding like you're saying overseas and the place you visit, like people are just like, I don't care who you are, really. Like, let's just have a conversation. Let's get to know one another. It's nothing. It doesn't have to be any deeper than that. I'm not trying to do you dirty or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. And like that's something I'll definitely remember for
Mm-hmm.
traveling.
Well, I mean, we have that experience. It's like if anybody from California comes to DC, we have that same exact experience. Like, oh, you're from
Mm-hmm.
Cali?
Yeah.
Oh, man, like you get real tacos. Like You have the taco trucks on the street. Like, is it really that much? The same way we get like fanboyish over like, oh man, like he's really from Cali. They get with us being from America. And y'all have to understand, like, America is the size of almost all of Europe. So when you go from one state, like if I go 4 hours south, I could pass two countries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you go 4 hours north and you're in New York. So going from state to state is the same way going from country to country. And imagine if every single state you went to, people look different and people speak different. And when I say look different, I can look. This is the craziest thing. This is the craziest thing, and it's not because I'm some genius, or whatever. Anybody who travels can tell you this. I can look at a person on the street and be like, "He's French, she's Spanish, definitely German, definitely." How do you know? Germans are a little bit more like built. You know, French people are really, really skinny, but they have like, this type of facial feature. Like
Yeah.
you can tell, like, because the DNA is so specific to each country. In the States, we really have a lot of diversity.
Yeah. And like from Sweden, like you probably notice a lot of people tall, blonde, blue eyes. Like that's a pretty common feature in places like Sweden and like those northern European countries. Like they all have
All
the
right,
same.
this is me not being racist at all, but it's purely physical trait. Swedish people have, it's not blonde, it's like blonde platinumish hair.
Okay.
So it's not normal blonde. It's like super blonde naturally. And then the blue eyes is true, but then their skin is like orange, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like more like milk. It's really like eggnog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm really not trying to be rude at all. Like, but you can literally look at a person and be like, yeah, they're Swedish, 100%. I know they are. And it's because each region has, they're very specific. Like you go to New York and you see the way they dress, and you're like, oh, they're from New York. Like I
Yeah.
see the Tims, like I see the, now just imagine that with facial features and skin, and it's not even without being like prejudice. It's like, oh, like this person has French features and French haircut. I go up and I start speaking French. And guess what? They speak French back. And you're like, huh. So then I go to Hungary and Budapest, and I'm at a bar and I see someone with blonde hair and kind of like tan skin, but it's natural. And I'm like, oh, like, I speak Swedish. And like, oh, they're Swedish. Like, oh, okay. So you use these to kind of figure out which language I'm going to speak with people. And then if you fail at any of it, you just default to English. And then your English is like, it dominates. So figuring out what people's fate, like, their features are, knowing someone's German from looking at them and then speaking German, they automatically say like, oh, like I could tell you were American because of your look. I could tell you were German because of your look. So they come to us speaking English and we go to them speaking what we think they speak. And it just, like I say, it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
All right, I'm gonna ask a little bit of a tougher one here for you. I know we talked about the California JUCO struggle a little bit. Playing overseas, like you said, away from family all this time. Do you ever think about quitting or giving up or anything like that? And if so, like, what got you through? Because I know some parts had to have been tough here along the way.
Man, I gave up like twice. And listen, like you chase something for so long, man, and then when you finally get it, and reality hits that, like it's not at all what you thought it was. And so basically, after my first year over here, I won a championship in Germany, right? So, and I'll break this down later. Also, I won a championship in Germany, and then while I'm there, I'm like, man, like I really spent for like 12 years of my life trying to prove to my coaches at QO that I am like worth something. I really spent like 12 years of my life trying to prove to this girl that I had a crush on in high school that I am worth something. Man, I really wanted to prove to the other guys I went to JUCO with that I was going to do something. Guess what? They don't care. You know what I'm saying? And once I got that, it really, like, getting kind of sad thinking about it, because it was like, when that finally hits you, like you're like you really like this, you lose what you're playing for. So all these years I'm playing with anger, with fear, with a fire. Like everyone's like, where you get all this passion from? It's like, because they told me I was too short. They told me I was too small. And I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove them wrong. And once I got it, like I'm looking back trying to shove it in someone's face. And it hit me like, that's what you really want to do is shove it in their face because they're not going to see it unless you know what I'm saying, go meet them in person and tell them, but you can't do that because you're here. So are you going to go dig on Facebook and find, who they are and tag them and pull a drum line where Nick Cannon went back to his father working at the bus station and said, "I made it without you." You know what I'm saying? That part of that movie hits hard, and because you realize like you don't need to prove. My brother told me, my older brother told me, you don't need to prove nothing to nobody except yourself. And I learned that the hard way. So I spent all them years trying to prove to somebody. Once I got it, I didn't want to play anymore. I said that's all I played for was just to rub it in. That's all I wanted to play for. So I went back home for 6 months. I'm working construction job on Shady Grove Road, and I'm sitting there like, is this it? Like I'm only like 23, and am I done playing football? I'm like, no. Like LeBron's still playing, and he's like in his 30s. Like Brady's still playing, and he's old. I'm like, but I didn't have any type of passion to play, like zero, none. I didn't even care, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So then another team in Budapest had hit me up, and they said, "Hey, like we want you to come play for us." And I really had to think, like, look, like, do I really want to play football? And what's the reason that I want to play? And then I started thinking, when I'm playing at NAU, I had fans come down. I have a picture to show you also. I had fans coming down, like parents bringing their toddler kids to me, and they said, "Hey, look, I really, really appreciated you, like what you did today." And I'm like, "Oh no, thank you." He was like, "No, I'm serious. Like you play with passion, you play with the fire, and I want my kids to have this passion and stuff they do in their life. That's why I bring them to these games. So it's really an honor for me, and I really want to tell you in person, thank you." So I started thinking about all of these things that like happened that I never highlighted, where people were like, "I really appreciate this, I appreciate that," or the fact that when I won the championship in Germany, I have grown men saying they've been playing for this team in their city for like 10 years. They never won. And he put all this time and effort. And he finally got one, and he cried and said, I feel like I've accomplished something. Like this made my marriage better at home because I feel like I'm worth like I'm worth the man that my wife, wants me to be, because as men, like we don't open up about this, but with football for a lot of people it was like this is like what's confirming that I am worth something, you know like how I was trying to prove, and I understood that. So when I went back, I said I want to play for any teammate that feels like they're not enough, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure they get what it is they want. And I went back over here with zero selfish mindset. Now I had selfish mindset for 12 years. How many championships did I win? Uh, we lost. I lost at QO, and the year that I left QO, they went to state. I went to Seneca. We went 9-1, lost the first playoff game. I went 3-8. Then I lost in JUCO, and at D1 I lost. And then all of a sudden, when I stopped being selfish, championship, 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 4 in a row. 4 countries, 4 in a row. And did I care about any of the championships? No. Everyone's like, "How does it feel?" I'm like, "You see that guy over there, how happy he is? That's how I feel. Like I feel happy that he is accomplished, because now I feel accomplished. I don't even care about the ship. I don't care about um, anything about it. I don't want the ship. I don't want the ring, the trophy, because I did it for him. And once I started playing for everybody else, it literally domino, like win, 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 win. So it really kind of like life is funny in that way. So I
Definitely.
definitely did want to. I definitely did quit, and then I quit a second time. I did that in Budapest, and I went to Istanbul, and I did the same thing. I was there for 10 months in Istanbul, and when I was there, I'm like, "There's nobody on this team that really cares about. So who am I playing for?" And then I'm just like, because they were the best team in Turkey. That was probably one of the lower seasons that I played, because they were so good in Turkey that the other teams would just accept defeat before the game started. So I ended up leaving in the middle of the season to move to Sweden. And when I moved to Sweden, I wasn't playing football. I just went to find a job because I had a new goal. I said, I want to live in Europe. I want to raise my kids in Europe because of all the different benefits and stuff they have here. So in order for me to get dual citizenship, I need to go ahead and start getting on this. And then when I started, working, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to play anymore. And then out of nowhere, I got this. That's the second time I quit. And then I got this brand new fire, brand new passion. And like, once I got that, I was like, man, look, like, I've been playing football for 14 years. This is what I do. This is what I do. So why would I stop? Why would I put into all this time and effort? Literally, the earliest thing I can remember is playing football. I can't remember anything before playing football, 2004. So why would I stop playing if this is who I am? Why am I trying to deflect who I am as a person? If I'm a ball player, if I'm an athlete, I need to go ahead and be an athlete. Why am I trying to change who I am? So boom. And I'm still riding that type of passion that I had then, even though I kind of geared it up a little bit in the past week. And I have a brand new passion, to play the game. So I quit twice. And I'm talking about tears in my eyes, asking people, what should I do? I don't know what to do. And I don't know if I want to play, and I don't know if I want to go home. I don't know what I want to do. So when I say I quit, I really sitting in the corner, on the shower, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I don't play, what am I going to do? Who am I? So it really hit a wall, man, but I bounced back.
Definitely got to bounce back. So yeah, I was gonna ask. So what? Two-part question. So what was your best moment team-wise, and what was your best moment individually on the field, at your actual performance? Because yeah,
same one. It's the same. So it was the COVID season, and we started training in February. Now, as y'all know, football, you have a 3-month off season. I don't care what anybody say. You ain't supposed to train 12 months out the year. Your body's gonna crash. And I did it. I've been through that and don't. So we started training in February to go play a season that started April. We get to late April and they tell us, hey, COVID's taking the world by storm. We got to postpone the season to the fall. So the whole time I'm like, look, am I going to get paid from this time? They're like, nah, we're not going to pay you. So I didn't even get paid from March all the way until August. August is when they started paying me again. So all I had was from the job that I had. And I'm just like, all right, well, so I'm training. So what happened was we ended up we lost the first game and then we won all the rest of them. And it's the first playoff game. And this playoff game, they signed 3 or 4 new athletes that just finished a season in another country. So they signed them and brought them over. And this team is loaded. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how this is going to work. So we playing the game and I'm doing my thing in the game and I'm on punt return running and I get tackled. And then next thing you know, when I get tackled, this lineman comes and jumps on my arm when I'm on the ground. So I'm kind of I'm like, all right, cool, it's no problem. But I can't bend my arm more than this. So I can't straighten it, but it didn't hurt. So I'm like, probably just, I don't know, dinged it up, no problem. So I go to the trainer and I'm like, trainer, what's wrong with my arm? He's feeling around, does this hurt? And I'm like, And then I look behind me and they just did a turnover and I had to run back on the field. So I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Just give me some tape. Taped it back up and went back on the field. And then we ended up winning that game in overtime. And it came down to the wire. And I made, I didn't make it was a team effort that game. So I could take myself to the hospital after. They're like, yeah, you fractured your elbow. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, you shouldn't even play. If you'd have got hit the wrong way, we probably have to reconstruct your whole elbow. And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, so you're gonna have to be put in the cast for 4 weeks. I'm like, 4 weeks? I got a game in 2 weeks. And they're like, all right, well, you ain't playing. So I'm like, we gonna see. So I'm in there rehabbing every day. They have this thing called shock therapy where it's a little hammer and they just it re-injures it because when you first injure something, everything activates to try to heal it. And then when it gets swollen, it kind of just chills and relaxes until it's done. So I do this every single day. I'm going through pain. So we go to the championship game, and I get to the game. Doctor checks me out, clears me for the game. So what I did was I put a long sleeve turtleneck on. I had a soft cast. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but I was able to
I've
bend
heard
my
about it
arm.
before.
Yeah. So, but and I had a soft cast just going along right here. So I had a long sleeve shirt covering it up because I didn't tell anybody on the other team that my arm was broke. Otherwise, they would have targeted me for it. So this game, I get like six. I get like I don't know how many. I get like a couple sacks, a couple TFLs. Like I was balling this game, balling. End up finishing the game, won MVP, won a championship. Um, got interviewed about like it's like a big story in Sweden that I like won the champion. I won MVP with a broken arm, like because no one knew. And after the game, I kind of told one person, and then reporters ran over like, "Hey, I got a question for you. Can you we heard that your arm is there something wrong with your arm?" And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking they're gonna go and ask me like other questions about the game. I tell them about my arm, like, okay, thank you, and walk off. And I'm like, oh no, they're gonna write a story about it. It's probably not gonna go good. But they hyped it up. They were like, oh, he won MVP with a broken arm. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. So for the like when was working at a school. And when I went back to the school, they all knew my arm was broke. And they found out that I won a championship and won MVP. So all the kids at the school started like believing in stuff that I said. So if I told them like, listen, like if I give them life advice and everything, they were like, listen, we actually watched you like because they went to the game or saw it on TV, either one. They were like, you actually like persevered through a hardship and did something for other people you care about. You actually preach what like you practice what you preach. So for the rest of the work, for the rest of that school year, everybody was like, man, like I respect you. And like to this day, they still write me and ask me about my health and what I'm doing. So this was like the best moment that I've had, saying, playing football because I've never had an injury that serious. I mean, I don't get injured really, but to fracture my elbow, like, I can't tackle with it, and I was still tackling with it somehow. And then they gave me MVP. I'm like shocked. I'm like, me out of all people, like I'm sure they're like, nah, like, and I watched the film. It's kind of like when you're in the moment, you don't realize all the stuff that you're doing.
Right.
When I went and watched it after, I was like, this is just, I didn't know I did all that. And then when I went to work, the kids at work, I mean, these 14, 15, 16-year-olds are like, listen, like, I respect you like as a man. So I'm sorry forever. So it fixed my work, it fixed my career, it fixed like my respect with my teammates, the town I lived in. Everyone from the town was like, yo, you came in here a year ago and said you were going to win a championship and bring the city money, and you did it. And you did it with a broken arm. And I saw you when your arm was broken. And so everybody was like, we respect you. So to have respect from people in a place coming from, I told you, I didn't have respect from my coaches leaving, and people said I couldn't do it. So now I have a whole town saying, like, you have my respect. For me, that was like greatest experience because it took a lot to try to get that done. And then to receive the not praise, but to receive like feedback on the work that I was putting in. I mean, anybody takes that like well. I didn't walk around big headed. I was just kind of like, man, like I love living in this city because people know that like they know my character. They know me for who I am.
Yeah, it sounds like they just definitely appreciated what you did and your performance on the field. So yeah, that's awesome.
But I do have to tell y'all real quick because I know a lot of people do want to know. Because a lot of people do ask, like, how is it professional if you're over there in Europe? So the way almost every team in all of Europe is allowed to have between 2 to 6 Americans. Most time they have 4, but they can have up to 6, and only 2 is allowed on the field at one time. So I don't know if you guys know about CFL. CFL has this rule too. There's a certain amount of Canadians, a certain amount of Americans, and now a certain amount of Europeans that they have to have on the team. In Europe, you're only allowed to have between 2 to 6, and only 2 can be on the field. So for those 6 Americans, it's professional because we're the ones coaching. We're bringing. If you've ever played Madden and you've been like you created a player and you're calling the play and you're changing the play and you're putting yourself in offense and defense, it's literally what you're doing in real life over here, except you're playing online versus other people who also did the same thing. But you're not online, you're in person. So I'm meeting Miles. Miles came from Texas and he had his own story and he's been grinding and he needs to get him a championship. And then there's me. And then we meet on the field. And then like we respect each other because of how we perform on the field. So then we might go play with each other in 2 years in a different country. Or we might, decide we want to go on vacation. I'm like, hey, Miles, like, hey, let's go to Prague. You want to go to Prague? All right, cool, let's do it. So for us, it's professional. For the Europeans that maybe be from Sweden and play in another country like Turkey or somewhere, it's professional to everyone that's getting paid. But the people who are from that country are not getting the same money that the other people are getting. So for them, it's semi-pro. But for the ones who are getting flown over, because the benefits, we have a full like professional contract that we have to pass with the government and everything, and they have to know everything on paper, like what we're getting and the benefits we're getting, insurance, everything. So that's one thing I want to clear out because I know a lot of people want to ask, but it's like hard to figure out how to ask. But that's pretty much the what sums it up playing football in Europe. I say it's two different sports, playing football in the States and playing football over here. Because over here it's like I said, it's like playing a video game. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you getting online and finding a player online to play, and you're playing the whole season. Except you have to put in the actual physical work to do it, and to be able to like win at the end of every year doesn't depend on your skill alone. It depends on your leadership and how much you can carry your team and put your team in that winning mindset. Even if they already have it, you still have to maintain it for a whole season. So if you're not right as a professional athlete that's coming over to this team, your whole team is gonna like show. Even if you're this amazing player, because there are a lot of NFL guys that get cut from a team and then will come over here and play, and then they get hyped up when they come, but then the team gets washed, and they're like, "Well, what happened? They weren't leaders." You know what I'm saying? So that's that. I just wanted to run that over real quick.
Definitely. I mean, kind of follow up on that. Like, you don't gotta give us like an exact figure or anything, but like, the pay decent enough that you're good just playing football, or you have to get
I'll tell you.
a second job to supplement, or
I'll tell you exactly what it is. So you sign a contract. These are the basic things you get. Every team you get a contract. They pay for your round trip flight. So you have your flight paid from Dulles and back. You have your sport visa because you can't be in Europe for more than 90 days. And with the visa, you're allowed to be here 6 months, only 6 months, unless they give you like a longer contract. They give you an apartment. Some places, depending on how good you negotiate, because you're your own agent, depending on how good you negotiate your contract, you might get a car or you might get a bus pass or a train pass, whatever, depending on the country. Like in Budapest, you get like because you take train and bus. So it's an all, you know, public transport pass. But in Budapest, I mean, in Istanbul, you might just get a little bit of money because the transport's different. Um, you get a cell phone, you get a gym pass, you get your insurance, you get a certain amount of meals a week, depending on the country. You might get 3 meals a day, you might get 3 meals a week. You might get just money for groceries. And on top of that, you get anywhere between 500 and 1,400 euros a month. So this 1,400, so the way I had to explain to my parents, they were like, well, 1,400 euros, that's not a lot. And I say, okay, pay for all your bills, your car note, your car insurance, your medical insurance, your groceries, rent, um, just miscellaneous stuff. How much money do you have after that? And then I'm like, that compared to the number that they're giving me. So I'm actually making more money than I would like having a normal job over there. Because after the bills and everything, I have like $250, $300 in my pocket
Right. I know that
to
struggle.
do. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? And that was me, like, coming out of college, and I was like, I don't know if I do this, but instead of 300, now I have 14, $1,500 to do whatever I want with, and all my bills are paid. And then on top of that, if you get a job, like I said, I was working at the school. The school I was getting 2,200 a month on top of the 1,500 I was getting. So I was getting like what 3,500 a month after
With
all
no
bills are
bills.
paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll add up quick, especially yeah, like you said, you got no bills to pay for, so sound like a good deal to me, for sure.
Right. The only thing is that, and this comes with part of the contract, because what they can offer anybody a contract. Everybody has a nice pro day. Everybody has a decent, attributes to put up. What they want to know is, are you going to come here and go to the bar after every single game, after every single like weekend we don't have? Are you going to blow this 600 euros? Because they usually start out 600. That's kind of like the base that you get in most countries, 600 euros. Because with 600 euros, you can blow that in 2 weekends easily, especially not knowing where to go in that city. You might go to the most expensive bar, and the guy, like, nobody will try to finesse you out of your money, but they'll push you towards the more expensive places because they think that you're balling and you have it like that, especially when you walk around like that. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh yeah, like I play football, like I'm a professional here. And some people have like this big head and they don't have any money after 2 weeks. So to give somebody more money, it really depends on their character. So the longer you've been here in Europe and the more people that can vouch for your character, the more money they're comfortable with giving you. So when I came to Sweden and I tell them, like, listen, like, I'm gonna need like this much money every month. And they're like, I'm not giving you that. And they're like, why do you need that much money? And this goes into something else. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm not, because a lot of people would just say, I need 800 euros. I'm like, for what? It's like, that's my value, 800 euros. That's really bad with negotiating. So they asked me, like, how much money do you need? And I'm like, all right, cool. I need like between 12 and 1,500. Like, why do you need that? And it's like, all right, cool. I need to go to chiropractor 3 times a week. Why do you need to go to a chiropractor? Because I'm lifting, putting my body through crazy stress. After a game, I need to get my fingers cracked, my wrist cracked, my elbow, my shoulder, my hips, my knee, my ankle, and my back on top of that. I don't go to chiropractor for just my back. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How much is that? Each session is $40. Oh, okay, cool, no problem. 40, 40, 40. 3 times a week, are you sure? Yes. Yes, because I know what my body needs to go through. I need to go to cryotherapy. Cryotherapy, what is that? You stand in a deep freezer. Oh, but you don't need to do that because you're not Ronaldo. You don't need, why do I need to do that? You want me to perform at a high level. So this is the recovery I need to put myself through. Just because I'm not in the NFL doesn't mean I don't need to get the same type of recovery. So
Right.
the only difference, I tell them, the only difference in the NFL is you have this in one facility. Now, I have gone and researched where this is in this country, how much it takes to get there on the bus, because it's probably only one facility in the whole city. And I need to figure out how much it costs for me to do that many times a month. So I can get the same exact treatment, not same exact, but I can get the same treatment. I just have to go out of my way to go do it. So I need cryotherapy. How many times after every game I need cryotherapy? How much is that? It's $100 each visit. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, what else you need? I need a massage. I need a massage for my calves, my hamstring, my quads. Why do you need all this massage? I'm running offense, defense, all special teams for you. I need to make sure my body is right. Do you want me to perform at a high level? Yes. Okay, what else do you need? Supplements. I need to make sure my body, my muscles have enough oxygen so I can do all this training. Oh, okay, you're asking for a lot of stuff. You're asking for a high quality athlete.
Right.
So, do you want an athlete that's not going to take care of his body and get drunk on the weekends, and then, which is like everybody goes out and has a good time, but are you putting fluids back in your body? Are you getting a proper recovery? Or is he going to decline as the season goes on and cramp in the middle of a game? I don't cramp. I'm like, how many times have all the film you've seen me do? Does it all look the same? Yes. These are the things I need. Oh, how much money is that? Well, now with that rehab alone, not including ice bath and buying ice from the store so I can put into my bathtub and anything, we're already at like 600. So 700. Okay, well, so you need 700? No, that's just for rehab. Now I need income.
Yeah.
Now I need about 600 on top of that because that's just, I'm a man, like I'm a grown man. I still need to put money in my account, save money. So then when you speak to them like this and they know that, oh, all right, I'm dealing with an actual athlete. This is why it's supposed to be professional for you because you educate them on you can't just have these guys training 2 a days, going to the gym, and they don't get the recovery. The body's going to do this unless they have the supplements, the ice bath, the I also went to the spa. And they're like, why are you going to the spa? I'm like, because they have a steam room, they have a heat stone, which is just a big stone that you just it's hot, like and it's easy to stretch on. They have a sauna, they have a jacuzzi, and they have a just they all have all in one place. How much is this? It costs like $30 a visit. How many times you doing this? 3 times a week, every week. So that's 30, 60, 90. That's $360 just for that one alone. So when I add all this up, I'm like, now I'm not asking for much. I'm only asking you for 400, but this is taking care of my body also. Oh, okay, cool. We can give it to you. So you have to break it down for them why you need that much money. So people who come over here and play football, maybe they have a 1 year, 2 year career because they come just for vacation and they spend too much time focusing on the vacation, which is okay. It's okay if they want to come over here and just socialize and meet people and go in and enjoy the nightlife. But then they don't want these athletes because if we win a championship, they get bigger sponsors, like $1 million sponsors, which means they build a new stadium and the old stadium can be used for the youth teams. And then they create stuff for the community, a whole park. And now you have a whole, like, we're building your community by bringing money in. So do you want to keep looking like an amateur team to your city, or do you want your city to take you seriously? So each place I've gone to, they've listened to me and they've able to jump up. And then the sad part is they let you go because they see another guy got cut from the Saints, another guy got cut from the Bills, and oh, we want this NFL guy. And what does he do when he comes over there? Oh, I'm just, I'm going to enjoy the nightlife. I'm going to go take a weekend off. Where you going? Oh, I'm going on vacation in Budapest. I'll be back in a week. Okay. Hey, by the way, we're not going to make it to playoffs, so we got to send you home early. Why are you sending me home early? Because you're kind of wasting our time, wasting our money. Oh, hey Darius, are you available right now? Because we really need a guy like right now. No, I'm sorry, I can't come through because you told me you want to upgrade and I wasn't good enough for you, so I need to move on. So then you learn you got to be your own agent and you got to start like so like I said, like it's a fun game to play, and the game I mean is just the full part of it because you learn a lot, but I don't have time to sit at home because I'm always doing rehab. I'm always trying to socialize and find work and learn new things. So trying to like go vacation somewhere and sit in a hotel for majority of the visit, it's wasting my time because there's so many other things to see, to do. Like, oh, I didn't know there was cryotherapy. Huh. Maybe I'll come play football in this place in the future. So you get to learn stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think the part that I think you highlighted really good was just like how you negotiate your like what you need, and like they believed in you. They took because it made sense. You broke it down you broke down the math, you broke down percentage, you broke down what you had to break down in order for them to understand why you need this X amount of money. So I thought that was a really cool point that you made.
Yeah, so but at the same time, it's only 6 months. So
Right.
a lot of people think that like you're getting paid this year round. It's like no, no. Like I get this, and I say 6 months because it's max. Usually like 5 months. So when I go to Poland, I'll be there January, February, March, April, May, June. I'll be there 6 months because I'm going early. But now I've told them that you don't have to pay for a round trip flight to fly me from DC and back, which is over $2,000. I'm gonna drive my own car because I have a car here in Sweden. I'm gonna drive my car down there. So what I need from you is to accommodate that money in my contract. Because if I was in the States, you would have paid it to me anyway. And if you don't want to pay me that money, I'm going to go to the States and see my family, and you're still going to pay me that money either way. So you can choose to either put it in my contract or to write that off as a um, expense as bringing me to the team when I was already in Europe. So I'm just find new ways to negotiate now because making money now is more of like being more accessible, more convenient. Like, am I more convenient? Because everybody, there's other athletes like me. I'm not a one of a kind athlete. Everybody who's still playing at this point is like a dog. You know what I'm saying? So for me to advertise myself like I'm the best, it's like, nah, it's not like that. Like, I'm trying to bring leadership to your team. I'm trying to bring convenience. I'm trying to bring like positive energy. And I have other people in Europe that can vouch for me. So do you want me? Yes or no? Oh, okay, yeah, we like him. Like, okay, we'll bring him in. And usually there's an American coach that's there. And the American coach, he talks to you like American to American. Are you giving me a bunch of crap or can I trust you? Because for them, like, it's a job for them too. And they can't like get sent back home. So
Right.
my bad for like rambling on. It's just like it's like
Nah,
I said, I'm trying to figure out as much as I can. Like,
nah, I'm really enjoying this, man. I'm learning a lot. I mean, before you went over there, honestly, I didn't really know that football was popping off like that in other countries. And I mean, you could probably speak to it more, but I wanted to know, like, yeah, like, what's the vibe out there? Is there, do you guys have a lot of fans, or, is it still kind of, I don't know,
okay,
what's it
so
like?
in the football community, yes. So what's the biggest soccer team in Maryland?
I mean, well, I guess technically not Maryland, but like DC
Exactly.
United, or something. I don't really know.
Right. So you can't really name it because you're
Yeah.
not in that community. Now you ask a soccer fan, it's like, oh, there's DC United, there's blah blah blah. It's like, bro, who? Like, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, but I don't watch. It's exactly the same. So in the football community, it's big. You'll have like, some of the games, everybody will come out. You go to certain places and people are like, oh, like I know who you are. Like, wow, like what are you doing over here? But it's not like because there's so many sports that they put on TV that like you might sit next to somebody at a restaurant and not know that, they're like a professional like athlete in their sport. They play like field hockey, they play volleyball, handball, so many different sports. So, but playing sports is a normal thing for people like coming out of either college or coming out of high school. The first thing they do is play sports. So it's just kind of like normal. It's just like, what sport are you going to play? It's part of the culture. If they're athletic, they play sports. If they're um, in the skiing, then they get into skiing, horseback riding. If they sing, then they sing. But they push their kids to doing these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely not. I feel that. I mean, also, I was going to ask, how much you get to follow the NFL at all. Do you still watch? Or, are you a fan? College football, anything like that?
Okay, so all the games come on. Like right now, it's 4 in the morning. All the people in the football community are up right now watching football. So we all have our websites to watch games and stuff. Me, I just take the 20-minute highlight where they show clip by clip by clip. I spend my Monday watching clips over, but that's if I get time. Like I'll watch. Like if I hear something or I see people post something online, I'm like, oh, what? Somebody did what? Like, oh, let me go watch this, and then I'll watch the whole thing. And but it's hard for me to follow just because I don't like staying up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But there are some die-hard fans that will set an alarm and wake up at 3:30, make them some food, make them like the whole like Super Bowl bouquet, And Super Bowl is big over here. They love the Super Bowl, and it's funny. It's like I don't watch it. I'm the most like I'm the most lame football fan that plays football. It's bad, man. Like because people ask me like, "Who's your team? Like, who do you watch?" Like, "Oh, like you like the Redskins, well, the Washington football team," and I'm like, "Nah." Like, what are you doing? It's like I'm trying to find new ways to make money. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
like I'm trying to socialize. Like, but a lot of people who live over here in Europe will tell you the same thing. Like, it's you you don't spend much time at home unless you got a girl, unless you got kids, unless you have like roommates that are really into it. Most time you're out or sleeping. And I don't mean out like partying. I just mean like out. There's just like right now it's snowing. People go on the lake and ski, which they say is illegal where we're from. You can't do that where we're from because people fall into the lake. Like, no,
That sounds dangerous.
they had people drill into the ice to see how thick the ice is. And then they were like, oh yeah, it's safe to ski on. So people get out of school, people take that, bro. Okay, this is a crazy story. The team I was playing for the last time I was playing for, we had this one lake, and I don't know how deep the lake is, but I see it's frozen one day, and I'm like, yo, if what? It's literally like 500 people skiing on the lake, like ice skating on the lake, and I'm like, bro, like I'm getting anxiety because I'm like, someone's gonna fall through. Like, no, 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 no. They checked, like it's not gonna melt, like they're fine. And this lady's pushing their stroller on the ice. Oh,
Oh nah.
I'm
Yeah, I
like,
don't know if
she's
I could
just,
do it.
That's
she's
probably
just
so normal over there. It's probably so
it,
normal. We look at it, it's like, whoa, that's like a red flag kind of thing. It's like, nah.
but listen to what I said though. Like they get
They,
off of work and get out of school, and the first thing they do is grab the ice skates and just go outside. They actually play out here. They actually interact with the environment. It's hard to find people who just sit at home. It's hard. It's rare to find. Everybody's always doing something. So that's just like strange to me that they just I tried it once and I was like, I walked across the lake. Bro, scariest thing in my life. It had to be like it had to be only like 50 yards too. Only 50 yards. And I got halfway and I'm like, bro, I gotta run because I gotta run. I don't trust. I'm seeing lines in the ice, but it's just from the blades cutting. And I'm like, bro, the ice is about to crack. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I gotta go.
Yeah, sounds a little sketch to me, but hey, people if they tested it and they said it was good to skate on, then hey.
Bro, they what is it called? Zamboni
Oh,
or the thing that's
yeah, they
the,
have at the hockey games.
they
I
have
should
that
know
on the
this.
lake. They have that on the lake, smoothing out they
The
have like
Zamboni, yeah.
they have it making like a circle rink so that people have like a thing to follow. And I'm like, bro, that's a heavy machine. That whole machine is gonna fall through. And people just like, oh yeah, what are you doing after work? Oh, I'm gonna go to the lake and we're gonna, rent some skates. They rent skates
Wow.
and then go and ski and then come back and then just oh, y'all don't know this. So in the wintertime, from like Thanksgiving until I want to say the end of February, the sun goes down, the sun comes up at 10 o'clock in the morning. Like I don't mean like sun in the sky. I mean like breaks from darkness to light at 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then it goes down at 3:30. Like it's night
Huh.
all day.
Yeah, because I mean you're so far up north on the globe. I mean the time that the sun is actually out is way shorter than if you're closer to the equator, obviously, because the equator real hot.
Right.
You're up north. It's probably mostly cold year round. So that makes
If I
sense.
go if I go 6, 7 hours south, the sun goes down normal time. But then the
Hmm.
summer it's flipped. So starting from like the end of May, the sun will come up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean in the sky, 4 o'clock in the morning. And it goes down at like 1:30 in the morning. So you only get like 2 hours of night in the summer. So people travel to Sweden in the summer. And in the winter, they travel to Spain or Italy and other countries where it's warm. The country, this is one of the countries with the highest suicide rates in the wintertime. because they don't have enough vitamin D from the sun, so they don't get that whatever they're supposed to get from that. Depression ink spikes up, so it's common for people to like get extremely depressed here. So they have to go to spas and lay in a tanning bed to get actual vitamin D or take vitamin. They advertise and they make put vitamin D pills on sale to give to people so that they can receive what they're missing from the sun. It's crazy, bro.
Totally different lifestyle just due to like where you live in the environment. That's great. That's really crazy to think about.
Same weather though. Whatever we get up here, it'll come there like 2, 3 days later. So I'll call my mom and be like, what's the weather like? She's like, oh yeah, like it's sunny, it's like 65. I'm like, 65 in October? What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, it is what it's like. It'll go from 30 to 60 like overnight. And then I'll be like, well, it snowed here today, so you're gonna get some snow later on in the week. She's like, all right, cool. And when 3, 4, 5 days later, you'd be like, oh man, like where did snow come from? We got it first. I don't know why it goes that way. Maybe that's because that's the way the sun goes around. But like that's also strange too. Is that I'll get the weather, whatever, mostly the weather. If it's a rain, like if it's like a pouring rain, y'all get pouring rain a couple days later. It just travels across the water. So
it's interesting. Nah,
like y'all.
I say you got a lot of stories, and we could do this all night, man. I'm super interested in this conversation. We are going a little long. I did want to shout out my guy here in the chat, Trell. Said this interview's fire. We appreciate that support, Trell. I think it might be somebody. It might know you. He said Big D Lou a little earlier, so what Trell.
Well, okay. That's Contrell. So he actually came to visit me when I was in California, and he flew out there with another friend of mine, and I didn't get to I feel bad because I really wanted to do more, but I get so tunnel vision. I realized I get real tunnel vision when I'm trying to get something done. So we should have did a whole lot more, but we did a lot. We had a great time in California. So they came to California to visit, and that was my first time really hosting people out there. So now I tell people, get your passport and come to Europe, because I won't take you to one country. I'll take you to 10, and I'll tell you where to go in these 10 countries. And we can do this in a week. I'll show you how to do it with the least amount of money spent while maximizing your experience. So anybody who's listening, and y'all too, I know Miles, you were joking about it, but I'm serious. If you decide you want to, take a little vacation, tell me what's in your budget, and I'll go with you to show you all these different places, because you don't need to speak another language to do it. And I can give you because some people like old architecture. I don't like it. It does not give me anything. But people are like, oh man, look at this building. It's so old. I've been to buildings that are older than the United States. It's not rare to find a building that's 500-600 years old and still functional, and people walk in and out of it. So some people love old architecture. So there are certain places that they should go for architecture. Me, I don't care for it. I'm sorry, but it doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the offer, man. I'll definitely try and keep you in mind if I'm ever traveling out in Europe in the places that you mentioned. Yeah, definitely.
Average sports. If I do this from Europe, we'll do it live.
Hey, that'd be lit.
So I'll keep the answer shorter if y'all want to fire a bunch of questions. I'll just boom, 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 quick answer.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're running a little longer than we normally do, but like I said, interesting conversation here. Not every day we get somebody from Sweden, a professional football player, any of these things, but we got it all in one. So yeah, we can rapid fire a couple off. I did have a couple just quick ones that I wanted to get from you. First, your Mount Rushmore, just defensive backs, could be anybody, any level of football, anybody that, you look up to them, you're like, yeah, that guy, he embodies, he's on my Mount Rushmore. Who's your 4 that you could put up there?
Believe it or not, Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey he's not a corner. I don't like him at corner, but I like him in the slot. I would have put Jalen Ramsey a nickel and dime any day of the week, no problem. He could play opposite of me, no problem. I would never even look to the other side of the field. Ed Reed, um, just because like the way he tackles, Cam Chancellor. Look, I don't care what people say. Like, dude is scary, bro. Dude, like,
Yeah, he was a
it's
dog.
Cam
Legion of
Chancellor
Boom.
and Daryl Green. My dad put me on Daryl Green. He was a cornerback for the Redskins, and like anytime I talked about my size, he would always say, "You know what? Like, you should watch Daryl Green highlights. Like that's who you remind me of because he was shorter, but he didn't let none of that like stop him. And so
Yeah.
Daryl Green was just quick and small, but master of his craft. And Jalen Ramsey like is a dog. Like, and he's confident. Like a lot of people call him cocky, but like it's hard playing nickel. Like you can't like you
Yeah.
need to go in there knowing that I'm gonna get this done. And Cam, so you know what I'm saying? Like and Ed Reed, like I said Ed Reed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta mention it. You
And
got to.
I mean, I grew up watching Ray Lewis because we had the same last name. And then I saw like, oh, Ed Reed, like he's always in the picture. He's really just a fast Ray Lewis. Really. All right, what we got next?
All right, country with the best food that you've been to.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Vienna. So Austria.
Austria. That.
Austria.
Note that.
Now it is expensive there, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like Austria and Germany are expensive countries. Don't ever go to Germany for Oktoberfest. It's a scam. It's a scam. You go in the summer for Oktoberfest, and Oktoberfest is literally the real Oktoberfest is a week before October. And then the first week of October, everybody goes back to work, and it's only like foreigners that come, really just Americans that come, Americans, Canadians, and people like Sky. They bump prices up and give them this fake experience. Like it's really funny. It's really like Germany really clowns the rest of the world with this holiday, bro. Like, but Vienna, Austria, Vienna, Austria, best food.
Cool.
Try it. All right,
I
I
What you
got
gotta.
got,
one.
Mark?
Oh,
Okay, you got one.
no, go ahead, Mose.
Besides football, what other sport? What other sport do you focus on the most besides football? If you do.
Oh, what me or
Yeah.
what I watch?
I mean, yeah, I guess what you watch.
I mean, but I play too. So people here love basketball, and like anytime I get to play basketball, like I play because Europeans like are saucy when it comes to
Oh yeah.
basketball. Because
Uh,
when you imitate something in football, it's like you need to have fundamentals. When you imitate something in basketball, you have to have skill to imitate what they do. And these kids are dunking, they're doing like these layups, they're crossing people up 15. I'm like, bro, like you're better than a lot of people in the States. But
yeah.
NBA too. Like I love watching LeBron. I am a
Yes.
Steph Curry hater, but I
Yes.
have grown to love Steph Curry in the past month or two. Just that. Um, Dame Lillard, like I'll watch a lot of these guys. Luca, like bro,
Lucas Cole.
anybody in the NBA that is from any of these countries in Europe, literally the entire country is on their side. The entire country knows about them, knows their parents, know where they live at. They wait for them to come home. They know everything about them. They watch them. They stay up late. You got some real die-hard fans, bro. So basketball's the answer.
That's awesome.
Basketball.
Chris,
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's the best coach you ever played for? I know you probably play for tons of coaches out there. Just
my
quick shout
my
out.
defensive coordinator from Fullerton College, um, Coach Crooks. He is the one. This guy never smiles or anything. He doesn't compliment people because he doesn't want people to be, he's the leader. And I've had, Coach Kennedy, BD Kennedy, who I just had in Sweden. He's American, Oklahoma guy. Him, Coach Fleming, he's at QO right now. He was my DB coach and Coach Kim, and actually Coach Mack also. You know, Coach Mack, Coach Kim, Coach Fleming, Coach Kelly. Coach Kelly really put the dog in me at DB. These are all QO guys right now. Um, and then the guy from my JUCO, because he's the one who told me you need to know he broke it down. Because me, I'm very stubborn. I need you to not just tell me what to do, tell me why I'm doing it. So he said, listen, the reason you need to know why the D line is doing this, because if one guy misses their gap on the D line, I need you to recognize that the second it happens, and you need to still do your job, but you know that the ball's coming from right there. So you get to where you need to be, and because he messed up, you know the second place to be because that's where the ball's going. I had maybe, and I have my like Fullerton film, like that I show people. I had maybe like 10 forced fumbles. Like I had a forced fumble every single game, and it's on film too. And it was being in the right place at the right time. So he's the one who taught me that. So best coach, all time, Coach Crooks. Honorable mentions, Coach Kennedy, Coach Fleming, Coach Kim, Coach Mack, Coach Kelly. Because despite like how we went afterwards, like they taught me how to be an athlete, really. Y'all can throw random questions out there too. They don't have to be like sports related. Just
Yeah,
just
I got one. All right. So what country, I know you talked about the nightlife a little bit. Which country had the most entertaining or most fun nightlife?
Budapest. I'll say it every time. Budapest.
Okay. Gotcha.
Every single time. um, it's really like it's hard to not have a good time in Budapest. Like I don't even have to tell you anything about it. You could just go by yourself and just ask a random person, "Hey, I just got into town and I really want to know where to where to go." They'll tell you exactly what to do, and just at night, like it just looks beautiful because a lot of these places they appeal to nature. So it's not like nighttime comes and it gets dark and it's just a cup. Like, no, they got trees lit up and down the street. They got like, and not for no holiday reason, it's just to give a beautiful, and they've been doing this forever. It's not like it's something brand new from 21st century. It's like, nah, they've always done stuff like this. They got lion statues on the parliament. Like, bro, like, so go to Budapest. If anybody's listening to me and trying to figure out like, oh, I want to go to Budapest, go to Budapest. Take my word for it. Take $500 with you, as like book the flight and then take $500 with you, and it shouldn't even cost that much to fly to Budapest. Go to Budapest because it's a beautiful place, man. And I'm not even
keep that in mind.
I'm not even like being subtle about nothing. I'm not like hinting towards anything. I mean everything about it. Everything about it is just beautiful. Everything about it. Take my word for it. I don't hype up any place. I don't have a favorite state in the United States. I don't have a favorite country in Europe, but I have a favorite city. And I don't have favorite anything. So my favorite city is definitely Budapest. And for that to be the first time that I admitted to having a favorite, it means something a lot. I gotta go back to Budapest, man.
Got you reminiscing.
Every time. What else y'all got?
Best player you played with?
Best player I played with, Alvin Reels. Alvin Reels Jr. This dude, I thought I was a dog. This man is, oh man. But he's passionate. I thought I was everything that I thought I was. I'm seeing like in it. I'm seeing that in him, but multiplied. I hope he's watching this too, because he knows it. Like I played 1 year with him in Budapest, and we were going to the gym. Like we were doing 2-3 days at the gym in the middle of the season, but we also kept our rehab and like this. If y'all ever get a chance to just like, I'll share his highlights and so people can see. But this man is a dog, and I respect him so much on the field and off the field. Maybe more on the field. That's how much I respect him as a man. Like above a lot of people, like top 0.5%. And I respect his game on the field more than that, which I don't know. I'm trying to like give a magnitude of how like great it is to just watch. And I hope I get to watch him play again this year in person. That'll be beautiful, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for me for questions. Chris, you got any more that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, just this last one, really. I stole this from, all the Smoke podcasts. I don't know if you're familiar, Steven Jackson,
Yeah.
Matt Bars. They always ask, who you think we should get next as a guest? Anybody you got in mind that maybe we're not, familiar with, or, that we, maybe overlooking right now, that who you think we should get on here, man? Because, want to start getting some more guests on here.
Alvin Reels.
Alvin, all right.
The guy I just told you about. I'll pass the information to you, but like I really, really, really want, because he has a different experience than I do. Um, just because of like we've gone the same path as far as like we needed to get done what needed to get done, and we've been going like this. But he has such a unique story and just his experience itself. If y'all bring these questions towards him, like and he has kind of like a very mellow approach to things, but it's not like that's just who he is. He's the most humble person I know. Most humble person I know. He made me a more humble person, made me more passionate person, made me more of a dog. And I would love for y'all to like bring him on, because that's somebody who definitely needs to get like a lot more opportunities to speak up about his experiences, because he has even more than like even more than I'm aware of. He has like in his back pocket, and he wears it on his sleeve, and he uses that with all the places he goes. So he's actually like, and this will be a great time, because he's what I'm saying, trying to figure out what his next move is, and it will be real nice for him to be able to just breathe and speak football for once. And he actually has, if you ask him these football questions like, what team do you follow? I mean, dude's from Detroit. The Lions is his team. I don't know if that's his favorite team anymore, but if you ask him anything, you could have a whole NFL conversation with him, and he just has That's a
Facts.
Yeah. So I can give you experiences. He can give you more football talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely have to network, get connected with him. That'd be dope.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, yeah. We definitely gonna try to make that happen. As far as this one goes, Darius, thank you for coming on here, man. I really appreciate it. I know Miles probably has too. The listeners, getting some comments here that they seem to be appreciating it. So first and foremost, thanks for coming on. It's been great, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for coming on, for being the first guest that I've been a part of the show with. So that's pretty dope for me. So really appreciate you taking the time. And I know it's early in the morning out there. So
man, look, like I said,
I was gonna ask. I don't know if we said it on the air. You could let the people know what time it is out there for you.
It's about to be 4:30 in the morning.
Sheesh.
So I've been excited to come and talk about this. So I'm just glad that y'all gave me the opportunity, and I really hope we could do a part 2, part 3, part 4, because it's a lot of good things happening. It's a lot of good things we didn't talk about, like Team USA. We just finished playing in the first ever All-Star game because they just made a brand new league, which is the new best league in Europe. And they had an All-Star game on Germany's Unity Day, where they, after World War II, and they brought the East and West Germany together. On this holiday, they made us a new inaugural game, a new annual game for this thing. So it's a lot more things for me to like dive into and talk about. So whenever y'all got time, whenever y'all want to chop it up again, like I would love to be back on here. And then next time we could pick a direction that y'all want to go. Now that I've given you kind of an idea of the life that I'm living over here, an idea, because there's so much that I haven't even like tapped into. So I appreciate everything, man.
Right, definitely. Sure. We appreciate you coming on, man. Like Miles said, taking your time, and of course, man, you're welcome to come back on this show. I'm sure we can make it happen again. Yeah, because like you said, I'm sure we got a lot more to talk about. I did want to get into that Team USA, but just time.
I want to give three shout outs if that's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
First and foremost, I want to shout out to my pops, David Brown. He definitely put all the energy he had, all the energy he has, because he still, gives me gems. And we've been through a rocky road trying to get to where I'm at, but I'm here and I've been doing it. So thanks to my pops. My mom, she was never really into the sports thing, but, she never stopped supporting. And now, she just took her husband to a Washington football game for his birthday. And I never would have expected my mom ever to go to an NFL game. And now, she's made herself a fan just by being so supportive. And third, my siblings, my sisters, and my brothers. They made sure I stayed on the right path. They've been, the other half of my heart when I needed it, and the other half of my brain when I needed that too. So those are my 3 shout outs. I appreciate it. Got my Team USA helmet right here before we go.
That's fresh.
That's
fresh.
I love this. This is one of my favorite helmets.
Yes, sir.
This is my favorite helmet. This thing is so nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll close it with this helmet on because I wanted to wear this bad boy again.
Definitely. I was trying to take a screenshot here with you with the helmet on.
Oh, you want to get one?
Let me see. I'm not the best with these the video stuff. Whatever, I'll do it later on. I'll figure out how to get it later on. But yeah, definitely.
I'll stay real still so you can just freeze the camera when you get a chance.
Yeah, all right, here we go. But yeah, man, of course, we're going to be rooting for you moving forward. Let us know. Keep us updated here, Average Sports Nerds. And yeah, I mean, for the people out there that, that tuned in, maybe you're looking for our normal content. We talk about sports and, what's going on in the sports world, have our debates. We will still be doing that in the future episodes. We just wanted to switch it up a little bit, have an interesting conversation. So, again, thanks Darius for everything, man. We might as well wrap it up and get out of here. As you guys know, man, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Like this video, really helps us out. We got a Ricky Williams signed jersey giveaway. You can get on it too if you want, Darius. All you gotta do is subscribe to the channel. Comment on our video that says giveaway, just with your Instagram name. Well, I already know your Instagram name, so I can get in touch with you. But yeah, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're gonna be giving that away once we hit 50 subscribers.
All right, man. Thanks for having me, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, sir.
And
all right, man.
I'll get started my morning.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Be easy, man.
Yes, sir. And that's the episode, I guess. So keep nerding it up and have a good week, people.
All right.